Yes, welcome into Foxboro Rush. I'm George Balecki. He's Travis Thomas. Our first virtual show together on this beautiful program. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you see me coming live from New Jersey. Trav holding it down in our studios in Watertown. T, how you doing today, bro?
Coming live from New Jersey. That sounds like a title for your new mixtape, George. Like I feel like I need to be a hype man for coming to you live from New Jersey. That's your album title right there. I like that.
Name out my autobiography, whatever. Just living in New Jersey. That'll be it. And I like the mixtape idea too.
Yeah.
Hey, I know you guys are listening or watching along wherever you get this podcast, Spotify, Amazon Prime, Apple. Please like, subscribe, rate, and review. And if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch or Facebook as well, like, comment along, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Just simply Nesson. And also you can head to the podcast page on the Nesson YouTube page and go ahead and like and follow and have those come right into your feed. But no matter what, we appreciate you making us a part of your day. We got a packed show on Foxboro Rush for you guys today. First, we're going to start off with the big class action lawsuit that came the NFL's way. It has to do with them violating antitrust laws, and that means people, residents, people like Travis could be getting a check in the mail.
Yeah.
It's also a day of reckoning for the NFL and their big business, of course. Then Travis and I dish out our best dad advice to Trevor Lawrence, who's expecting his first child. And finally, we will rank who will go from worst to first in their division, and also in the NFL, who could have a first-time MVP winner. Now, Trav, let's start with the antitrust, violation of laws that the NFL is just going through. And what has come through? The NFL to pay more than $4.7 billion in damages for violating antitrust laws in the distribution of their out-of-market Sunday afternoon games. Now, I understand you are a part of this, my friend.
I am.
You're one of the residential people that would pay for Sunday ticket.
Yes.
And what the NFL got caught with, this is a lawsuit that originated in 2015, where subscribers to NFL Sunday Ticket have accused the league, its teams, and its network partners of working together to sell the out-of-market sports package at an inflated price.
Right.
And restrict competition. So basically, they were paying it and making you guys pay an arm and a leg when they didn't have to, but also requiring you to purchase the season as a whole. Where you're from DC, if you wanted to watch the Commanders, or if you want to watch the Ravens, but you're living in Boston, no, you had to pay for the entire season of the entire NFL when you wanted 1 or 2 games per week, let's say.
Right.
And then the restriction of competition, you also needed DirecTV or now YouTube TV. So they made it be where you have to go through this provider and you have to purchase this entire season. The plaintiffs alleged the NFL and its broadcast partners worked to suppress competition, limiting fans' options to only watch out-of-market games through NFL Sunday Ticket. To me, this is all about accessibility. As someone that's paid for Sunday Ticket, what do you think of the news that this was coming down, where it's bars getting affected and getting their money back and of course, the residential, the normal people like you that were paying to get it in their home?
I can't wait, George. Now, listen, by 2015, I was out of the game of paying for this, but I did in 2011 and 2012 for 2 seasons pay for the Sunday Ticket, and I was happy with it. I had no issues. I would have parties. One of the reasons I did it is because at the time, George, I had a bachelor crib, right? We all know that has changed. So I want to go on record here, George, as to not get myself in trouble. At the time, I had a bachelor pad. Now things have changed, and that's why I stopped getting the Sunday Ticket. But at the time, I would have parties on Sundays, have people over, and I wanted the ticket so everyone could kind of watch whatever their team was, right? And so that's why I purchased it. For 2 seasons, I had the ticket. It was fantastic. I loved every second of it. Never had a complaint. Was it expensive? Hell to the yes. Was it worth it? Hell to the yes. So by 2015, I was out of the game of this. And I'm on the front end when this lawsuit starts in terms of people who can get paid from this. I'm on the front end of it. So we'll see. What do you think, George? $4, $5, maybe $6? What am I looking at here? Because the NFL, we know they're going to drag this through the mud. They are litigious as anyone, as a day is long. I mean, they're going to drag it and appeal, and I don't know when I'm going to see any money from this, and I don't know how much I'm going to see. Now, I did notice on Twitter when this was announced, someone had put out, if you had the Sunday Ticket from these years, click on this website, and I did, and all it said was, It was a bunch of legal jargon, but it basically said, if this goes through, they will contact you and let you know how much money you're getting. So I'm already in the system. I don't need to fill anything out. None of that. So I'm happy about that. I'm just hoping it's real money, but I don't think it's going to be, George.
It's going to be $6, so it gets you like half a beer in Boston. That's what it's going to be, bro. At
Half
best.
a beer?
At best. You can't even get anything off the value menu in Taco Bell with that $6. But this is more of a day of reckoning for the NFL. I mean, that's what it's going to be. What this lawsuit is all about, it's about accessibility. The issue is the NFL required you to pay out the ass for every single game through the season and only on DirecTV. If you're a fan at home or a business owner or a bar somewhere, you got played. And there was price fixing, making it higher than it needed to be. And what they were doing with this is they had to play nice with the networks, with CBS and Fox. They still need people to tune into those local games. So again, if you live in Mobile, Alabama, but you're a Rams fan when they were in the Los Angeles, when they moved to LA, what's the way you'd get that game? You'd pay for Sunday ticket. Same thing if you're living in Boston and you want to watch Miami Dolphins, you pay for Sunday ticket or you go to a bar that has it. So the jury ordered the NFL to pay $96 million in damages to commercial establishments, so that's bars. And out of 2.4 million plaintiffs, $4 billion to the residential class. So that's you. So that's for normal people like us that paid for Sunday ticket. Way more than we should have owned. This is what's going to happen now. And you hit the nail on the head. When you get that $6, I don't know. I don't know if you'll even get that $6 because what's the next thing? The NFL will appeal the ruling. It'll go from the circuit court, which it was in California, to the Supreme Court has to agree to take it on. That's the big part. They should need 4 of the 9 sitting on the Supreme Court to agree to take the case. And you have to keep in mind that 6 of the 9 on the Supreme Court, the judges, were appointed by Republicans that are very pro-business. What is the NFL?
Business.
A massive behemoth of a business. And out of the 31 teams, because the Packers don't have an outright owner, 31 out of the 32 teams have 1 or more billionaires that own them.
That's right.
Billionaires are connected. And they have a dog in this fight where they don't want to pay for this. They got caught, but they don't want to pay the price. This is the one line that stuck out to me. Should the NFL end up paying damages, it could cost each of the 32 teams, approximately $449.6 million. Imagine if you're Mike Brown, the owner of the Bengals, who has a net worth reported of $950 million to $2.1 billion. That is, now you're not the only owner of the Bengals, but that is up to a fourth of your net worth. And I'm sure he is worth more than $2.1 billion. No matter what, all these rich billionaires care about is their pockets getting fatter and getting more checks from the league. It's the same reason why we're seeing NFL Network fold and games be sold more to Peacock and Amazon Prime, right? And those other entities. Because if they sell one game for $70 million, then that's a random check of $4 million, $5 million appearing in their pocket. They're all about it and they love it. That's where it's going to get interesting. It will be appealed. You said it. And this is something that started in 2015. It was kicked down, picked back up in 2017. It was finally resolved. This is also the part where whenever we see Roger Goodell making like $40 million a year to be the commissioner of the NFL, basically to be a babysitter of all these billionaires, why does he get paid that much? These moments are why. You have to handle this, Roger. You are a lawyer. You have a law background, and whatever team of lawyers you have, you go figure this out. You deal with this stress. We're going to go hang out in the corner on our yachts and not care. And then we can't wait to hear, Roger, 3 years from now that we don't owe anything. It's either going to be like a settlement out of the court, or it's just going to be keep getting kicked. And then the Supreme Court will step in and be on the side of the big business. That's one of 2 ways I see this going.
I think you're absolutely right. And by the way, my guess would be it will be settled just so it goes away. And that's why I'll get $6. It won't matter. Here's something that's insidious to me as a consumer of someone who had this. So I told you I was on the early onset of Sunday Ticket as it pertains to this lawsuit anyway. And I remember having that for 2 seasons. As I said, I had no complaints at all, but I didn't watch the Red Zone because I was watching games, right? And what's crazy to me is later when I got rid of Sunday Ticket and I moved to wherever, and I said, all right, I didn't even have, so when I had Sunday Ticket, George, I should add this, I had the satellite dish at the time, and I went for the satellite dish strictly because they had the Sunday Ticket, DirecTV, I think it was. So when I had moved away, I had cable, I was starting a marriage and all that, so I wasn't as concerned with watching every game. But I wanted to still see snippets of every game, so I paid out of pocket through my cable provider for the Red Zone channel. And my life was much better, and it was much cheaper. Mm-hmm. I could watch all the games, the critical moments of each game. I still obviously had the local teams, which at that time it was the Ravens and the Commanders. But I loved having Red Zone. If I had known, with that experience of Red Zone, I would have preferred to just pay for that from the onset. But here's why I say it's insidious. You couldn't do it. At the time I got Sunday Ticket, Red Zone was included in the Sunday Ticket. It was not a la carte as we see today. So this is one of the reasons where it is clear to me, and not shocking to any of us, but it's clear to me the NFL is getting over on people left and right. And I can't even imagine being a bar owner. I mean, you just have to be so ticked off, not only at this lawsuit, but even the way things are today. I mean, what the hell are bar owners supposed to do? So now you mean to tell me I need to get Peacock, I need Amazon Prime on this night, I need this on. I mean, it's just got to be maddening for people who are just trying to get patrons into their bar and watch games and drink and eat wings. Now they got to figure out, it's like a Rubik's Cube to figure out how you're going to get the game on all your TVs that night. It's just got to be a pain in the ass, George.
Yeah, you have to have DirecTV. You have to pay all this money for all these games. Because think about it now. With the new deal that went through with YouTube TV, if you wanted NFL Sunday Ticket, as a residential consumer, you'd have to pay $450 for the year, for this season, to get every game, when in reality, you don't care about every single one. Right. You're right for the Red Zone argument. I always preferred Red Zone over Sunday Ticket, but I understand the people, like my buddies that are 49ers fans, they would pay for Sunday Ticket every year because they would want to watch the 49ers game from start to finish, and I completely understand.
Right.
What the real hope is out of this, Trav, is that not you getting your $6 check. The real hope out of this is that this is a welcome to Jesus moment for the NFL, that you can't continue to do business like this.
Yeah.
You need a cheaper option for the full package. But then, like you said, you need to offer a la carte deals. Yes. A single team, a single weekend,
That's right.
A single game, even if they want. And people can pay as they wish. You'll have those nut jabs that want every single game because they'll go week through week and they'll want to flip from channel to channel and watch start to finish. They don't want Red Zone. They want to control it themselves.
Right.
Then you'll have the people that are fans of a single team, like someone living in the middle of Ohio, but really, really loves the Los Angeles Rams. And they want to watch every Rams game. So that's how they do it. Or you get the people that just want it for a single weekend to have their friends over. It's wild card weekend. You guys come over. Or it's a big weekend, week 17. Hey, everyone come by. I'm paying for it. Don't worry. Just BYOB and we'll have a good time.
Yep.
That's what you want. You want actual options. And even for this, in Sunday Ticket, to not make you required to get YouTube TV or DirecTV. Because what if you just have a simple cable provider wherever you live and you don't want to get DirecTV? Well, what the NFL did with this deal is they made people get DirecTV and they made them pay for a full season. And again, it's all about the NFL. It's a big business. It's all about billions. It's money grabbing, money grubbing, what they always do.
Yep.
That's what they want. So I'm not surprised by it. To me, it's good to hear this. You want accountability with this because it's always been BS. Whenever I saw the numbers, I was opposite, dude. I was like, I'm not paying for that. And guess what? I found ways to illegally stream it. I don't care, NFL. I illegally streamed it. So many of your games come at me. But what it is that the people that don't know how, or you know what the issue is when I illegally stream it, I don't know if I'm going to get it on my nice TV. The people that want to enjoy the sport because they love it, and you're already making enough money as is, you're making so much, there is a point where it comes to you have to do good business with your consumers and in good faith with your main customers, which are the fans. And I hope that is what happens with the NFL now. I don't have faith if it gets appealed and goes to the Supreme Court for anything real to happen, but I hope there's accountability to be had about how they've been doing the business.
You want to know how I know you're from Jersey? I mean, bro, you just looked right in the camera, right through Roger Goodell's soul. And you say, yeah, I illegally streamed your product. Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. I love it, George. Here's the other thing I'll say that makes me kind of sad. You were saying, hey, Trav, you probably will be entitled to $6. Good luck getting anything on a value menu or anything for $6. And you know what's terrible? I mean, damn, man, that's how bad our economy is, George. I mean, not to get all political on you, but a brother can't get anything for $6. You're absolutely right. And by the way, by the time I see this $6 in however many years, I mean, what is that? By then, $6 is worth what? A quarter? 50 cents? I mean, you really can't get anything, George.
Exactly. Just remember what the money was and who owes what. Jury ordered NFL to pay $96 million to commercial establishments, $4 billion to residential class, and each team could owe up to $450 million. The one part that I bring up, and this is really why I don't have faith in the Supreme Court, and I said it, these owners, the owners of the 32 teams and what they're going to owe, right?
Yeah.
Jerry Jones, back when the Dallas Cowboys won their last Super Bowl, what was that, 93, 94?
Mm-hmm.
The person that was there for the ring ceremony, the team receiving the ring, was Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas.
Come on.
He was the guy that gave out the rings, and Jerry Jones, after that, gave Clarence Thomas a Super Bowl ring himself. Read this in an article. It was on Pro Football Talk. Thomas, according to the Times, has flown on Jones's private jet, attended training camp practices, and when the team played in Washington and sat in Jones's private suite, the article also states bluntly and matter-of-factly, Jones gave Thomas a Super Bowl ring. Thomas gave out rings to the team in 1994, and this was Jerry Jones when asked about that. I know he was inspirational to our team, a Supreme Court justice, inspirational to an NFL team. He would speak to us when he went to Washington, and so it was an honor for him to give the rings out that year and for me to award him one. That's just one justice. Who knows how the other justices in these big business owners are in their pockets. Terrible. It's all about lobbying. We know how it is. Like you said, we're not going to get political, but I'm just going to be matter of fact with how it goes when you mess with people with this much money. I don't expect the NFL to pay up anything. They're going to keep appealing. They're going to figure out a way. They're going to have connections to the Supreme Court. I don't think it's going to be clean.
Yeah.
The end result, man, and you know what? If it ends up that Sunday ticket prices are reduced, the options are better, you don't have to get a full season, Trav, I will buy you a beer at full cost. Not a $6 bill. I'll get you whatever beer you want.
Yeah.
To me, that is better than you getting that $6 check in the mail. I just hope, lack of a better term, pun intended, justice is served to the NFL, and they realize they can't keep doing business this way. Is my faith in that high? Not really, but I hope it happens.
Well, listen, you put me at ease, George. I'll be honest with you, because I can't exactly make it rain with $6 $1 bills. But what I can do is have a good damn time with a nice ice-cold draft of – I'm an Allagash guy. A nice Allagash from my guy GB. That'll be good for me, man. I'd rather that than my $6. Thank you very much, sir.
Look, man, I am just all about pleasing the people, having a good time. And for all the times that I missed out on coming to your Sunday ticket parties, which sounded epic,
they were.
I'll make up for it in this way.
They were, George. You would have turned up, George.
All right, let's move on to some better news across the NFL landscape. And I loved this. So Trevor Lawrence and his wife Marissa are expecting a baby.
Mm-hmm.
We found out this news via Twitter, and I loved that it was the Twitter account of the Jacksonville Jaguars saying, "We're having a baby. Congratulations to the Lawrences." You know all of Duval County, and if you have to be a Jaguars fan, you're an absolute psycho that you put up with that misery. I just love the "we're having a baby." Jaguars Nation. Duval having a baby. Travis, as someone that's been through this journey twice for you,
2 times.
What advice do you have for Trevor as a father, and what advice do you have for him and his wife Marissa as a lovely couple of expecting their first baby?
Run, Trevor! Run for your life! Run!
Too late. Too late.
Is it too late?
Should have told them that. I think they're high school sweethearts or something. You should have told them that way back then.
All right. Well, I guess I got to give real advice.
Off number 1.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, I would say this. These are the things I've learned. I don't even know if it's so much advice. It's just like, here are some landmines that I stepped on. So just try to avoid them as best you can. You have to put wifey first. Either way. Now, my wife happened to have a C-section, so I had to put her first because literally she could do nothing after that surgery. So I was not prepared for that. I thought it would be like the movies, George, or TV, where a doctor would hand me my kid, me and her would celebrate like we won a Super Bowl, and then, life would just go on, we'd figure it out. Wrong. She had a C-section. She was out of the game. She wasn't even in the game. They showed her the baby. She was like, thanks. Fix me. All right, cool. Boom. Here you go, Dad. Hold the baby. We're going to take care of her. And I was like, what? What's going on? So you have to figure out a way to keep her first. Now, if it's a natural birth, no C-section, all that stuff, she's still going to be banged up. You still got to be there for her. It's not just all about the baby. So that would be my first word of advice for Trevor. Secondly, make sure your swaddle game is tight. Men, we're egotistical. What happened to me? Again, George, this is just what happened to me. I'm just trying to help Trevor out. I was like, swaddle a baby? How hard can that be? I can do that. There were nurses at the hospital that literally said, hey, we can work with you, show you different tips and tricks. I don't need that. I got him. When he shows up, I got the swaddle. Wrong. I had a meltdown, George. I was terrible at swaddling my kid. It was like a loose burrito. Like, you ever had a loose burrito when you lift it up and all the good stuff falls out? That's what was happening.
Yeah, that's why you gotta have a tortilla underneath.
Right, fair, but I couldn't do that with a baby. It was a mess. So I needed help. Thank God my wife's best friend called her and said, what do you guys need? I'm coming to see the baby. I'll pick up whatever. And my wife said, please get Velcro swaddles for my husband who's having a meltdown. She thought the hospital was going to call security on me because I flipped out. I was cussing so much because I couldn't get this G-damn swaddle to work. And then the third thing was, beware, Trevor, of black tar. Black tar will come out of your newborn child out of nowhere. It could be the back or it could be puke, but it's coming. And you got to be ready for it. No one told me black tar was going to come out of my child. I had no idea. For my first one, George, it happened to be Puke City. He started coughing and then yeah, George, you heard me, black tar came out of my son's mouth. And I thought it was over. I thought I had him for a few days, and then this is it. This is how it ends. And they said, no, it's normal. There's a word for it. There's a medical term I'm not smart enough to say here, but people in the know that are watching know.
Research.
Yeah, you look it up. Look up black tar newborn, because it happens. And then luckily, for my second one, I was more prepared, but I was expecting, the Ralph, the blah. No. This one came out of the back. And I was like, what the hell's going on? So, Trevor, black tar comes out of your newborn child. Prepare yourself mentally for this, and you'll be okay.
Meconium.
There it is. That's it. I recognize the word. Does it say what that is? What is that?
The very first stool your baby passes doesn't smell bad. That's because the black tarry-looking stuff called meconium is sterile. Until the intestines are colonized with bacteria, there's nothing to make poop stinky.
Oh.
Bro.
So I guess it can be puke too, because that's my first kid, definitely raw. And I was like, oh. And then when I saw the black tar, I said, oh my gosh, this is it. Nurse was like, no, it's normal. Normal? No, the hell it isn't. My kid is venom. Like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? Is Spider-Man going to come in here?
I don't know what to do with that info. I've been around a lot of people that have babies. I just met my nephew Luca for the first time.
Great name.
And a lot of thank you. I love the name. A lot of questions were answered. I never heard about the black tar.
Yeah, bro.
I think on that front, here's one I can follow up with. Get ready for the belly button to fall off, right? Umbilical cord thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't deal with that really. Like they asked me at the there were a couple things that won't surprise you about me at the hospital, and that was one of them. Do you want to cut the umbilical cord? I said, hell to the no. Go ahead, you're a pro. Then for my son, there was the snip situation. Do you want to do that? And I said, hell to the no. You're a professional. You go ahead and handle that. So I didn't really deal with any of those things. Like I just let the pros do what they do. By the time I left the hospital, I had a regular newborn child that I was going to take home and try and figure out the rest. And I still am trying to figure it out. But all that stuff, I was not involved in Georgia. I told the professionals, go ahead. And the good thing, I guess, about the C-section surgery part of this, George, is my wife was not there to intervene and say, no, it's important, Travis, that you do this or you do that. She was out of the game, like I told you. So I was making decisions. I was in the executive seat, baby. I was very decisive, very intentional. Nah, you handle that. You're a pro. Thank you very much.
Let me ask you, I got to get past the black tar. Can we talk ages like 4 and on?
All right.
What's some advice you have? Or, let's start this. 4 and on. Give me some advice when the baby hits 3 or 4 years old, boy or girl, because you have both.
Yeah.
What's an advice you got from there? Because I need to move on from the black tar.
Well, everybody's good luck with that. I'm just telling you, if you're gonna have kids, George, you better, that black tar is gonna show back up in your life. Look, everybody's different. It's easier for me the older my kids get. I am not a nurturer. I don't have that. And I don't know why. I don't know why God didn't give me that gift, but I ain't got it. And I didn't know I didn't have it until I had kids. I was a mess with a newborn and with even a toddler. Like the ages you're talking about, 3, 4 years old, that's when I felt like dad has entered the chat. Like I'm a great dad now because my kids are a little bit more, I don't know, like self-sufficient or something, independent. But when it comes to like doing every little thing and even the way you hold them, George, I mean, I couldn't hold my kid without the neck snapping back. And I'm like, oh my God. My wife's like, you got to put your hand behind to support their neck. I don't want to support their neck. All right, do some damn push-ups. Hold your own neck. Like I was a mess for that, George. But 3, 4, beyond, just be a dad. Be present. They're going to have some personalities coming in. You're going to be able to work with them, negotiate with them, have a beautiful relationship. But newborns, I was a mess. So that would be my advice. If dads, if you're anything like me, you don't have that nurturing anything, you don't have any nurturing DNA in your being, just hang on for dear life until they're 3 or 4. Then you step in and start crafting. Then you start dadding, baby.
Bro, it's all about supporting the neck and the spine as we show how to hold babies using
Look at you. You're a natural.
Yetis. Oh, yeah. I learned this, that it's all about the spine in the middle. So you have the neck and you hold it like this.
Look at this.
And then it's all about the center spine support. This is what I learned holding little baby Luca that I met.
This is what we learned on Foxboro Rush. George is a nurturer. George is a gatherer, and I'm a hunter. You got to love it, baby.
Hey, I would think, I can't disagree with that one. I'm big, though. I'm big on being an uncle. I'm big on the rental. You know what I mean? It's like you get a rental car for the weekend. You're on vacation. Yeah. There's sport mode. You throw it in. You don't take it out. It's not your brakes. It's not your tires. Who cares?
That's right.
And then when you're done with it, you give it back and they deal with it. Yep. The advice I would give is, and this is important, I feel like, for the both of them, especially with someone like Trevor Lawrence, who obviously is passionate about football and loves the sport and is an athlete. Whatever your kid wants to do, though, support it. Yeah. Be there to give them the advice that they need and that want, but don't tell them what to do. Yep. And I think anything they come to you with, if he comes to you and says, you know what, Dad, I'm trying to think, I want to be a coder. I want to work in tech. Instead of shooting down that dream and telling him why not to, go, cool, go ahead and do it. Because I always think about the advice I got from my dad and my mom too. But when I went to them and I said, hey, graduated college, I just got a job offer in Joplin, Missouri. Wow. They want me to start next month. The first thing my dad asked me, said, what are you sleeping on? And do you have a kitchen table in the apartment to eat on? I said, no. He said, go on Amazon, order them, and I'll pay for them. And that was it. Wow. And just something like that where he just made sure I was taken care of. We moved in. He didn't care about me having a couch, a TV, nothing. He's like, these are the important things. Go. Yeah. I think that support is important. And then, again, I would say, too, and I think about it, I deal with my girlfriend's nieces time to time. And you're right, man. When they're 3 or 4 years old, they start getting a personality. They start acting crazy too and out of pocket. Man, that's wild. Yep. You're trying your patience. And you know what? You're a human at the end of the day, Trevor Lawrence. If you lose it, you lose it. And same thing to Marissa Lawrence. But I think take that step back and breathe and just picture where they are now. And then when you're 80 and you would kill to be back to when you were young and they are reliant on you and they are with you all the time. Yeah. I think keep those in mind. As you see the difference in our advice, though, Trav, one is coming from someone that isn't even close to thinking about having a kid and someone has been through it twice.
Yeah, I'll say this. It's great advice. And while I just want to politic here for a second, George, can you look up Trevor Lawrence's contract? Because I want to say this. You know, my entire journey would have been completely different if I made Trevor Lawrence money. And by the way, if I ever, which I don't want to, but if I ever go down this road again where I have another child, I promise you, I'm not going to do it as broke as I did for these first two kids of mine, okay? When you have money, Trevor Lawrence, I'm talking directly to you. George, you have that contract up. Can you give me the numbers, please?
$200 million guaranteed, earns up to $275 million over the next 5 years.
Yep. Trevor Lawrence, you need night nurses, nannies, hire Nickelodeon. Just buy Nickelodeon, buy out Coco Melon, get it all, okay? Take everything you can, use your resources and your money to make parenthood easier for you. That's my advice. Still be a dad, still be present, still have all the great things of fatherhood, but all the bad things of it, pay for someone else to do it. You're welcome, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, that crossed my mind too. All this advice we're giving him. I mean, the guy is worth $200 million. They're going to have the support staff, literally the support staff. They'll have the support of their families, I assume,
Yes.
but literally the support staff of paid people to help take care of it. And
Yeah.
you're right, man. I think a night nurse is a big one. That's
Yep.
what it is.
Yep.
I guess the last advice I'd give him is early stages. This is what the kid's going to do. Going to wake up at midnight, eat, fall asleep. Going to wake up at 3, eat, fall asleep. Going to wake up at 6 a.m., eat, fall asleep. 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Because I hung out with my sister and my brother-in-law over the weekend. And literally all the baby does is wake up, fuss a little bit, eat. We all hold him. Then he passes out.
Yeah.
Wakes up, eats, passes out. That's all it does all day.
What a life.
All you can eat buffet, nonstop. Just make sure to be there for your wife when she needs you, especially
Absolutely.
late at night.
Yep. Yeah,
All right.
that's well said, my friend.
Speaking of, we're talking about teams that can go from, we're talking about obviously, you know, a guy that just got paid and hoping to lead his team to the mountaintop in the NFL.
Yeah.
We alluded to in the beginning. I like this conversation, Trav, to really get into football. Enough baby talk. Enough dad talk. We're going to go through, and there are obviously 8 teams that finished last in their division last year.
Yep.
Out of the teams that finished last, what would you rank 1 through 3? You don't have to give me all 8. But who are your top 3 teams that you think can go from worst to first in their division?
All right, how do you want to do this? You want to go 3-1? You want my first place right out of the gate? What do you want?
Go 3-1, and I'll
Okay.
list them off real quick. Last place teams: Patriots, Bengals, Titans, Chargers, Commanders, Bears, Panthers, Cardinals. Give me your 3-1.
All right, 3, I'll go Washington Commanders. Now, you and I both agree 2 things with Jaden Daniels. He is dynamic, he's electric, he's ready to play right now. Plug and play. The other thing we agree on him is, but he better learn how to get out of bounds or slide because he's too slightly built to take the shots that he took in college. So there could be injury concerns there. You and I both are in lockstep with this kid. So I'm going to put the Commanders here, assuming that he is wised up from college and decided, you know what, I'm going to protect myself and get the hell down because these guys are bigger, faster, and stronger. If he does that, George, I think this kid can ball. And unlike the Bears, who I do love, I do not think the Bears are going to win that division because that division's too tough. Detroit, I think, is going to be in the Super Bowl this year. They should have been in it last year. I think they get to the Super Bowl this year. And I and you both believe in Jordan Love and the Packers. So that's a tough road to travel for the Bears. Whereas you look at the Commanders, we're not sure. We think the Eagles are going to be good, but we're not sure. Nick Sirianni, he may not be the guy. And Jalen Hurts was a mess last year. I know people blame it on injuries, but I saw some bad body language from him too. I mean, he looked like he just quit and gave up. I'm like, bro, where's all the motivational speeches? Where's that stuff at? So I'm not convinced with the Eagles. And then don't even get me started on Dak and the Cowboys. And the Giants are rebuilding. So I'm looking at Washington having a real shot here to go from worst to first. It happens all the time in this league. You want to go or you want me to keep going?
I'll give you my 3. I like that case you make for the Commanders. I just don't believe in them. I don't think Jaden Daniels will make it through healthy. But the path you have laid out, That's what adds up to here. That'll be my number one. But number three for me, I go Bengals. You're getting Joe Burrow back.
Okay.
You're getting a top 3 quarterback. But why they're my 3 is what you said, the path through that division.
Yeah.
You have to beat the Ravens. You have to beat the Browns. You have to beat the Steelers. You have to outlast them. And the Steelers got better, whatever you want to say about it. It's Mike Tomlin, never finishes below 500. The Ravens and Lamar Jackson are the Ravens. And the Browns made it through and won a playoff game with all the injuries they dealt with, including their best player, Nick Chubb. I have the Bengals at 3 just because you have Joe Burrow back under center and healthy.
Right.
You invest in the offensive line by getting Trent Brown at left tackle. You know, Jamar Chase is going to be there. Everything's going to be good. But also what the tough part is that the Bengals and Joe Burrow lost their offensive coordinator to Tennessee. He's now with and the head coach there. But I just think it's a Bengals just based off they get one guy back and it changes the entire dynamic of the team.
Yeah, can't argue that. I'm going Chargers for my second team. This is simply the Jim Harbaugh effect. You know, obviously everywhere he goes, and there's a large enough sample size now, you can't say it's a coinky dink. No, this is what this guy does. College and pro. He shows up, he wins, period, immediately. Now, he can wear you out after 4 or 5 years, no doubt. But the Chargers will take that. They'll figure it out in 4 or 5 years if he's getting on their damn nerves. For right now, please, Jim, we have talent all over the field. Can you turn us around? The answer is yes, he will. And this division is weak outside of the champs and the Chiefs, who, quite frankly, if they had to go on the road as a wild card team and get back to the Super Bowl, we all know they're fully capable of doing that. I'm not saying they're not going to try to win the division. There's obviously importance to that. But I do not believe the Chiefs are going to be some sort of 1 seed in the AFC this year. I think, if anything, if there's a chance for someone else to win that division, and the Chargers would be that team, because I do not believe the Raiders or the Broncos are close, I think this is the time. And I think that's part of what went into Jim Harbaugh's decision to take this job, because he saw this landscape and said, yeah, I do have to go against Mahomes, but, you know, if I can weather that storm, I have the talent to do it, at least in the regular season. We have a chance to be at the top of this division. So I wouldn't be shocked if the Chargers won that division, George.
My number 2, I like that Chargers pick. My number 2 is the Chicago Bears. Now, you said it's your open, though. You have to be better than the Packers. You have to be better than the Lions. Both are premier teams in the NFC. The Vikings have that question mark. We don't know what they're doing with their quarterback. But because of the situation that Caleb Williams is stepping into, where this team was bad last year, but it was because they couldn't get it right with their offensive system and their quarterback. You get Shane Waldron in as your offensive coordinator, instant upgrade. Go out and sign Keenan Allen, who just had a career year for the Chargers as their wide receiver 1, but now plays with DJ Moore, with Roma Dunze as a rookie as well, Keenan Allen himself, Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett, DeAndre Swift out of the backfield. Oh, and by the way, you got Caleb Williams with 2 great offensive tackles, and you don't have to worry about your defense because your head coach takes care of that. This team had the number 1 overall pick, but it was because the Panthers were terrible, and that was a pick they had in that, right? Give me the Bears as my second best to win their division, go from worst to first. I would not be completely surprised if they won the division. But this also, when you go into this consideration, maybe something happens with the Lions that get derailed. Maybe the Packers in that defense with a first-year defensive coordinator now there, maybe they're not ready with Jeff Hafley coming from Boston College to be the DC of the Packers. Defense has always been the question. They're up in Green Bay. Yeah. But the Bears as a roster, we've seen the foundation laid down. I have the Bears as my second most likely team to go from worst to first.
All right, my number 1 team, you said it. I think there were 3 on your list. Welcome to the jungle. I think the Bengals. Look, I have 2 teams this year I'm so high on, and I think either one of them could be the number 1 seed in the AFC. Number 1, and you know this because you always SMH when I say this, I think the Dolphins, because of their system, their coach, and they feel like a regular season team. I don't believe in them going to the Super Bowl, but I think they could be a number 1 seed. And then I think the Bengals. And the only trepidation I have is Avi. It's the health of Joe Burrow. But, I mean, hell, if a if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. So, listen, if Joe Burrow gets hurt, okay, it'll be a replay of last year where they're competitive and they just don't go anywhere. But if Joe Burrow can stay healthy, this is the only quarterback left in this league, because Tom retired, who I've seen stand toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes and beat him. I got to go Joe Burrow here. So I'm going Bengals as potential from worst to first and winning that division.
Your number one, I think it's a great pick. It's just such a tough path, and that's why. You'll be surprised by not my number one in this. We have very similar lists. I went with the Chargers 1.
Yeah.
I understand they have Patrick Mahomes in their division, but just look at the lay of the land. The Raiders and the Broncos.
Right.
The Raiders are going to be led by Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew, first-year full-time head coach as well, and Antonio Pierce. I just don't like that. The Broncos roster is one of the worst in the NFL, and they very well could have Zach Wilson as their starter in week 1. That situation is terrible. When you look at what the Chiefs have, you said it. They got a repeat. They're going for a 3-peat to be Super Bowl champions. That's a lot of mileage. All the distractions they're dealing with.
Yep.
Now, given when the going gets tough, and the Chiefs have owned the Chargers, but that was with a moron and Brandon Staley as a head coach for Los Angeles.
Right.
You said it. Jim Harbaugh. With 2 great offensive tackles. He said he will come out. They're going to run the heck out of the ball. But when it comes into what they're setting up, end of the day, you have Justin Herbert. A run game is a quarterback's best game. We see what the game is, what the passing game, and what the scheme is today. Out of the bootleg, get him moving. Get his guys open, and he can make every throw on the field. I know Lad McConkey's his best receiver, and then you just plug your nose and hope for the best. When you see Quentin Johnston out there, or hoping that Josh Palmer can just stay healthy, I don't know. But that's why I have the Chargers as 1, as most likely, because I think their division is the easiest, even though they have Thanos and Patrick Mahomes leading the way.
Yeah.
But we'll see what the Chiefs can do going for a 3rd straight Super Bowl run. Because that's a team, they don't care for division wins. They can get in as a wild card team, and they can make a run because we know what they did in the postseason this last year. All right. And we did open this combo talking about Trevor Lawrence. The Jaguars are one of 5 teams in the NFL to never have an MVP winner. We got a quick one here, Trav. Texans, Cardinals, Jaguars, Buccaneers, Saints. Out of the 5 teams that have never had an MVP winner, rank them in order and just give me your 1 through 5. Who do you think will have an MVP first?
You got to go C.J. Stroud and the Texans. I'm going to give him the edge over Trevor Lawrence, who I have second. Both of these guys are dynamic enough to be number 1 on this list, though. Outside of that, I don't really feel as though any of these other candidates are realistic. I think this is between Lawrence and Stroud. I'll go Stroud because I think he's further along in his development, which is kind of mind-blowing, seeing as how he's only been around 1 season. He also has a ton of weapons. Trevor Lawrence does not. But I'll go Trevor Lawrence, too, because we understand potential. That's why he got paid. We're just still waiting on it for him to live up to it. 3, I'll go Cardinals with Kyler Murray. He's going to always probably have the numbers to be in these kind of conversations, but he's not a great leader. So if he has the numbers and the Cardinals are able to get a playoff spot in the wide-open NFC, George, Kyler could have a case. 4, I'll go Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. Clearly, we've seen he can play. The Bucs are a real team. I think they'll be in the playoffs. Baker Mayfield will be in the conversation. And then the Saints I have in last place, and just call them the Aints, as in this ain't happening, because they don't have a soul on the roster who can win an MVP. Thank you very much. The floor is yours.
Just flip my 2 and you flip your 2 and 3, and that's why I got the same list. Texans, C.J. Stroud, Bobby Slowick. That receiving core, I think Stroud will be great. I have the Cardinals too. I just think Kyler's more dynamic, and maybe they have more options. Like, how can you tell me Marvin Harrison Jr. can't potentially be an MVP winner 1 season? We seen what Tyreek Hill was. He was in the conversation, and then he got injured, and then the offense kind of fell off. But I can see Marvin Harrison, so I think the Cardinals have options. Trevor Lawrence, Jaguars 3. The Buccaneers, I just don't think they have anyone on this current roster that can be an MVP, but it is who who we have on this list. And the Saints 5th, I mean, to me, it's the biggest shock that they're on this list, because if you said, hey, Drew Brees won an MVP and just left it at that, I'd go, yeah, sounds right. Finished 2nd in MVP voting 3 times in his career. That was the closest he ever got to winning one. 2006, Daniel Tomlinson and his 28 touchdowns, but Brees led the league in passing yards that season. 2011, Aaron Rodgers had 45 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Drew Brees had 46 touchdowns but 14 interceptions. And then 2018, Drew Brees, 2nd in MVP voting, set the single season record for completion percentage, but Patrick Mahomes' first full season as a starting quarterback 50 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Drew Brees, one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the position, never won an MVP, but that's an era he was caught in, along with the Peyton Mannings and the Tom Brady's, of course. But then the guys like the Aaron Rodgers, the Mahomes, and then the anomaly of an Adrian Peterson or LaDainian Tomlinson, the few running backs that we remember winning a league MVP.
Yeah, no doubt. Well said. By the way, it sounds like you agree with me that there is not a soul on that roster now who can win it, so that's good.
Alvin Kamara? No, it's not going to be Alvin Kamara.
No one.
Not your boy Derek Carr? Oh,
not a chance.
Hey, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Foxboro Rush. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. And head over to YouTube and Twitch as well. Like, subscribe there as well. He's Travis Thomas. I'm George Bilecki. Next time we see you guys, we'll be together in the studios. Until then, have a great rest of your day. And thank you for making us a part of your day. We'll see you guys later.